In the news this week, historic Winter Olympic outing inspires Nigerians to take up winter sports.
Bro, what you doing out here in the snow? It's that sunny.
Yeah, what the fuck you mean? Second Genesis on me.
After watching Black superhero movie, Africans discovered their hidden talents. Nigerian monkeys react to stories linking them to missing 70 million. And now, it's the other news.
And here's your host, Okey Bakassi.
Yeah, thank you. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Other News. The Other News is your weekly stroll on the fun side of the news. We'll have a lot of great stuff lined up for you today, like a loaded plate of jollof and dodo. My guest today is a writer, lawyer, and an activist. The remarkable Ayisha Osori is with us today. Please, a round of applause for her. Yeah, all that and much more in a moment. But first, is the other news headlines. Senate President Bukola Saraki has invited the young comedian Emmanuella to visit the Senate and discuss young talent in the creative industry. Emmanuella and senators, I love it when my fellow comedians come together. All the jokers in the chamber. All right, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, recently seized some drugs that it says were on their way to Boko Haram in Adamawa State. NDLEA, bego, please. We don't want more problem. Make their matter no go worse pass as it already be. Those guys are sick. So please, apply wisdom. All right. Well, the British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, has added Igbo and Yoruba service to the already existing Hausa service. Hey, we finally have BBC Wazobia. All right. The Independent National Electoral Commission has met with state independent electoral commissions to discuss allegations of underage voting. INEC should go and sit down. If underage girls can marry, why shouldn't they vote? And now to other matters. In a civilized environment, leaders resign when they are not living up to the expectations of those who put them in power. I mean, when they do something like call for a referendum that does not go in their favor, aka Brexit. Or when they are 8 minutes late, like this guy. You see? But in Nigeria and other African nations, the relationship status of Nigerian leaders and resignation is it's complicated. Not because we are not civilized. Maybe because we have rulers, not leaders. There is the voluntary resignation style, which we see often as often as we see eclipse. And in this case, just like with eclipse, we always need to wear glasses to be sure we are seeing clearly. Then there is the military-assisted type of resignation.
The 93-year-old Klongan is president for a week after the army took over.
Yeah. And the military love that style. They love that one. Yes. There's also that type that happens to leaders who are party people. Yeah, that's a former South African president. By the way, you know who? This is similar dancing style got him kicked out. Yeah. When water passed Gary, they told him to, oh yeah. Well, there's also fake resignation, where the ruler pretends to resign. Then his cronies will begin to beg him to stay. Now, the people love you. Suddenly, the Supreme Court will validate his stay in office, and he continues to stay. See, is it that they think resigning will kill them politically? Do they believe that their seat of power will explode if they stand up? Maybe this resignation phobia can be blamed on the ancient Yoruba tradition where leaders who messed up literally handed in their resignation letters by committing suicide. might be leaders that are not performing actually want to resign honorably. But fear, they catch them. Thankfully, based on reports of the aftermath of resignation by long-standing African leaders, leaders can now see that the act of resigning might not be as deadly, as they all think. These men are still alive and kicking. Yes, even the very old ones. I'm talking about African leaders that have actually resigned. Jammeh of Gambia is still having fun on his farm in Equatorial Guinea, and Mugabe is still stepping out in style. Yeah, you can take away his country, but you can't take away his swag. I was about to, even call him to ask for tips, but let me not stress him.
91-Jährigen, dann ist er tief eingeschlafen.
Yeah, man is chilling. Don't trouble him. You see, these are leaders that have crossed the dreaded terrace and are now showing those who might be following closely behind them, if you understand what I mean, if care is not taken, that life on the other side of leaving office can be swagalicious and quite fulfilling, with cows, chickens, crops, and other things encouraging you. Resignations or not, Nigerians still day where they day with our own type of resignation. In other words, we are resigned to our fate. Okay. In 2014, a young writer, lawyer, and activist tried to run for House of Representatives and lost. Then she wrote about her experience to prepare the next set of candidates so that what happened before, make it not happen again. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ayisha Osori. Please, a round of applause. Welcome, please. Ayisha, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, I've seen your book, very interesting and very revealing. You said our political system is designed to make sure that the best of us don't rule us. Please explain.
Well, what I found out is that by the time we're waving our PVCs around on election day, 80% of the battle for decent leadership has already been lost. Why? Because of how the party primaries are structured, starting from the way the delegates are selected. So it's a managed process, which is designed almost like a factory. So when you have a factory line, it's designed for a certain product to come out at the end. And so any deviation from the normal is sort of pushed to the side until you get what you want. So that's what I meant. So we need to be paying attention to what's going on inside the political parties. It's great that we're all excited about voting. I considered myself fairly educated, but by going through this process, this experience showed me that I really didn't know much. That when it comes to politics, it's not about...
Now, imagine that you tried and you don't know much. So imagine Nigerians watching this thing and talking about politics.
We don't know anything.
We don't know anything.
We don't know anything. We're being taken for granted. And they like it that way. So that's part of the reason why I wrote the book, because I realized that we lack the real information about what's going on inside the parties and how our political process works. And I like the energy that we're all having right now, PVC, everybody's excited, sleeping in lines. And I want to encourage that. But at the same time, we should be telling the parties, give us better candidates. Why is it that since 1999, you won't say that much has changed? Even when the party that's ruling at the center, or even at the states, changes, nothing really changes much in the quality of our lives and the quality of governance. It tells us something is wrong.
The more we move forward, the more we stay in one place.
The more we're not going anywhere.
We're
like rocking back and forth.
Now, she's been talking about her book, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we'll talk so much more about this book. Keep watching. Don't even go anywhere. Thank you. It's still the other news. We'll hear from our correspondent, Binta Bhadmus, in a bit. But we're still talking to the very, very special guest, Ayisha. Ayisha, yes, as we are talking about this, your wonderful book. I love this book, and I think anybody who loves this country should look at it, not just politicians.
Thank you.
Anybody who loves the country.
Yeah.
It's very insightful.
Thank you.
All right. Your advice to aspirants is don't be unemotional, the way you put it. Be unemotional but strategic in selecting your political platform.
Sure.
Yes. What do you mean by that?
Well, okay, like, so for example...
When you say unemotional.
Yeah, so basically...
That's remove emotion from this thing.
You might think, like right now,
Yeah.
for example, APC seems to be disliked. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
People are disappointed.
Yes.
So somebody who is thinking of running for the first time might say to themselves, I will go anywhere but APC. I'm just using this as an example.
Yes.
And I'm saying, well, assess your environment carefully. You might find that within your environment, so for example, maybe your environment has PDP as the ruling party and they're equally as dissatisfied.
Yeah.
So you might not think that you like APC, but if you do a check of your environment, your local environment, and you see that APC has a chance, then go with them. That's what I mean by being unemotional. Because the truth is, at the end of the day, the internal processes in APC and internal processes in PDP are pretty much the same. The parties are the same. The people between them are fluid, they keep moving, and the way they're structured and designed are the same. So don't be emotional about it. Now, but if you want to be a maverick, you can look at other parties, the new ones, who haven't won any elections. But if you are determined to win...
So the emotional part, if I understand it clearly, the emotional part is don't get carried away by happenings around you. So, and the strategic part is what?
Strategic part is, okay, so if you know that your governor, you and your governor, the governor who is finishing his second term is about to leave office, and you know he wants to go to the Senate.
Yes.
Don't say you want to go to Senate for the same seat that he wants.
Yeah, of course
you know you can never win. No, we know you can never win.
Yes.
That's also part of that's part of being strategic.
Yeah.
So go for something else.
Women are playing bigger roles. You know, women like you, especially young women too.
I laughed when you called me young, Sha. Are you using PDP definition of youth, Abi?
Okay, you know, I thought it was more acceptable to call a woman young.
Thank you.
But if you're saying
okay,
old now, I don't mind.
You're playing to the gallery, no wahala.
I think one of the reasons people say it's not the time for women is because of some preconceived notions people have about women in politics.
Sure.
Are you those stereotypes? Do you think it's true?
Of course not. What, I mean, who will say their mama soup no sweet?
Yeah.
I can't say that now, but I would say
So
that...
like if you have a young daughter who's interested in politics, you say go ahead.
Of course, but then
Because people believe here that it affects marriage.
Of course, people
That
believe
once
that.
this girl don't tear eye for politics.
No, in fact, no, the truth is,
control her.
the real reason, there's that. But they're even also saying that it's because you don't have a man, that's why you want to go into politics. And that's also interesting. So they say to you, if you see a woman, they say she don't get a man, that's why she wants to go there.
Is it true?
I don't think so. And again...
But do you have a man?
Yes, now. Plenty.
I just, you know...
Plenty.
Yes. No, hold on.
Why not?
Plenty.
Plenty men now. I have sons, I have brothers. There are many men in my life. Are they not men? What are they?
Oh, good.
No, but to be honest, we should ask, what is politics and governance about? Is it to serve or is it to eat? Is it to loot or is it to work for the people? If it's to work for the people, then you will not care whether women are there or not. But it's because in Nigeria, government office is to steal. That this issue of does she have a man or not have a man, because there's that patriarchal thing that men look after women. Yeah. So the whole thing is, a woman coming in is because she needs to look after herself. It could be that a woman wants to serve her community, has lived as a Nigerian in a community where nothing works, and thinks she can do better.
Anyway, from what we've said about politics, from what we've said and what you've seen about politics, it appears to me that there are really no rules. There are rules, but in some ways there are no rules.
They are gangster rules.
So, do you think we should play by the rules or not by the rules? Because oftentimes we find that those who play by the rules don't succeed.
Of course.
Those who play outside the rules get what they want.
I think, oddly enough, in politics, it's very much by the rules, and if you follow it, you're likely to win. I think we need to disrupt the rules, actually.
Your beautiful book says love does not win elections. Why that title?
People ask that question all the time, but this book, it took me almost 2 years to write this book. And the name was the last thing that came to me. I'd been calling it some very bland name.
It's a catchy
It is
title.
a catchy title. So how did the name come to me? We were discussing Fashola, right? People loved Fashola before he became Minister of Works. I don't know if they still love him, but they loved him before. When he was governor, they loved him.
You have a good point.
And there were all these, there were all these polls where they will say, who do you want to be president? And Fashola's name will always come
Yes,
up.
always come up, yes.
Thank you. So it was.
But I don't think it will be the same situation now.
No, but one time he was loved.
Yes.
And so the question came, as loved as Fashola was at the end of 2015 when his second term was over, was he loved enough by the people to anoint another governor of Lagos State? Was he loved enough to put a House of Reps member into office?
I see your point.
The owners of the structures
took their structure
and
left him stranded.
He never even had any. He never had any.
Yeah.
Being governor doesn't mean
he was counting on the love of the people.
He thought he was loved. And that's what many people. Me too, I thought I was loved. My delegates told me they loved me. The ward chairman told me they loved me. They hated the other guy.
I need to go and review this love that people are loving me or
don't
claiming
believe
that they
in
love
love.
me. So now that your eyes have opened and you've realized that this it's not about love.
It's not about love.
Any plans to run again?
I don't. I surrender. I've given my love to the people with my book.
Yes.
It's my gift to the world.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for making time to spend with us.
Thank you.
All right. Whoa, it's been amazing. Well, now you know that it's not just a love matter. Your eyes have to be there, your mind. All right. Our highly busybody correspondent, Binta Bhadmus, has a profound message for Nigerians. So, Binta, what kind of message do you have for us?
Hello,
By the way,
Kay.
you look fantastic.
I feel so fantastic, actually. I have just watched that movie everybody has been talking about.
Yeah.
Black Arrow!
Black Arrow?
Black Arrow. With Okey Bakassi and Segun Arize. Wait, which other movie did you think I was talking about?
Of course, the movie that everybody has been talking about.
But come to think of it, why is everyone suddenly excited about Wakanda? That American movie that helped reset the brain of our Nigerian brothers and sisters when it comes to their cultural dress sense as they went to the cinemas. Anyways, we'll do a comparison of what they have in Wakanda and what we have here in Nigeria. Or should I say what we don't have here in Nigeria and what they have in Wakanda? Okay. In Wakanda, they have the most advanced technology controlled by their high chief priest, Forest Whitaker. Here in Nigeria, we have the most advanced spiritual technology controlled by our high chief priestess, Patience Ozokwo, and high priest, Chiweta Luagu. They have a very young man as the king, and he has his family occupying most positions. Here in Nigeria, we have a very young, we have a man, Sha, in Aso Rock, with most of his family also occupying important positions. So same thing, or better put, same noni. Wakanda is a fictional African country, thought to be the most important country on the planet. Here in Nigeria, we ought to be the leaders of black people, but we don't even understand what it means to control or to lead a group of people. In Wakanda, the government spends lots of money to send their students abroad to bring back knowledge and create technology, invent things. In Nigeria, our government collects money from students to feed their pet snakes. Okey Bakassi, this country, we have everything. Everything, just like in Wakanda. If we can channel our resources to where they ought to be channeled, we won't have to go to the cinemas to see what a standard African society should look like.
All right, thank you very much, Binta. Well, Nigerians, you have it. Down the Humorous examines a subject that has most of Nigeria's young people on the edge of their seat when the other news returns. You are still watching the other news. Our observant correspondent, Dan the Humorous, has a very important observation on voter participation. Over to you, Dan.
What's up, okay? All right, now I'm coming to you straight and live from this very beautiful place. Now you... Yes?
How's your day?
Well, technically a house, but this is not my real house. I'm actually reaching you from a Big Brother house. All right? Now, okay, apart from our own #1 show, The Other News, yes, I said it, we're #1 all day, every day, yeah. Millions of Nigerians are tuned to the Big Brother reality show daily, perusing the activities and shenanigans of housemates. Now, do you know that Big Brother is actually a reflection of democracy? Yes, it is a show of the people, by the people, and for the people. A people-driven show, that is. Now, okay, mention one housemate from 2017 Big Brother Naija, and I'll tell you how they resemble or look like a politician or something that looks like a Nigerian political situation.
Wow. Okay. Somebody that readily comes to mind is Thin Tall Tony.
Okay, Thin Tall Tony, that will be a Nigerian politician who gets into office but refuses to declare his assets and even acquires more assets in office.
What of Bisola?
Bisola. That will remind you of President Goodluck Jonathan. Lots of smiles, lots of goodwill, but when she lost, everybody shout her manage.
Okay, talking about winning and losing, what of the winner, Efe?
Efe. Efe reminds us of President Muhammadu Buhari. You know, lots of massive support, voting and supporting the underdog and everything. Now, after the victory, we're still wondering, this victory, was it really based on logistics?
Okay, Debbie Rice.
Debbie Rice will, that will be Senator Adeleke or Dino Milaye, always singing and dancing.
Okay, who do we? Kemen.
Kemen. Kemen, basically the headsman, you know, grazing on farmlands without proper requirement fulfillment.
Talking about farmlands now, since you've gone there, what are T-Boss?
T-Boss, that's President Obasanjo.
Huh?
Yeah. Somebody who was part of the system, then left the system and started complaining about that same system as if they are not part of the problem.
Dan, what exactly are you talking about?
Okay, don't you follow Instagram? T-Boss was complaining on Instagram about how the girls in this present Big Brother are behaving, how they are dressing, how they have bad attitude. Meanwhile, we know the people who use juries and opened everything.
Hey, Dan, don't go there, don't go there. Don't go there. We're on a TV show before you begin
okay, but you understand what I was trying to talk about?
I understand
the opening. You know, now you'll be shocked, okay? In 2015, President Jonathan and President Buhari both had 27 million votes. Now, in 2017, Big Brother, they recorded nearly 30 million votes, removing the fact that old mama them from the village did not vote in Big Brother as they voted in the election, which makes me begin to wonder if we, the young people, actually channel this Big Brother energy to proper elections, maybe we might start seeing different results that we've been yearning for. Also, most people have their favorite housemates. They tweet about them, talk about them on Facebook, even go to the Big Brother polling site to vote for them, but do not go to the actual voting site to vote for their favorite housemate, aka the Big Brother ballot box. Now, that is the same case we have in our proper elections. Tweets and Facebook posts may influence an election, but they do not win elections. Also, in 2019, we will be going for our own Big Brother. Yes, since 1999, we've had 5 Big Brother editions coming every 4 years. You got it right, our elections. And in case you don't know, our politicians are our housemates. Of course, they occupy one house or the other. House of Assembly, House of Reps, Government House, Senate House, Rock House. House is house, depending on how you look at it. And come 2019, these guys will be up for eviction. Who will be saved? Who will be voted out will be determined by the people that vote. And if you have been following this show and you still do not know that I am Daniel the Humorous, then you are part of Nigeria's problem.
And of course, we have a solution. That's our show today. You have been a wonderful audience as always. Remember, you can be part of our live studio audience by calling the numbers on your screen. I look forward to seeing you. Also follow, like, and subscribe on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube using our handle, The Other News CTV. Our people say if a man wants to grow a long tooth, he should have the lip to cover it. All right, see you same time next week. My name is Okey. Have a wonderful week.